Good morning, BookTube. This is Caitlin Bandy, and this is my channel, Bandy's Books, and I am here this morning to do reading sprints. I've been doing these reading sprints every morning on Mondays for about 6 weeks now, and I'm really enjoying them. So if you're new to this whole reading sprint thing, the way that I do them here is I have my coffee and my fuzzy blanket and a stack of books, and I just set a timer for 15 minutes and read consistently for that 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, we have some time to chat. It has been a lot of fun doing these ones. We're starting to get a good group of people that pop in and out for reading sprints. So as per usual, if you're dropping in, feel free to say hello in the chat box. Let me know what you're reading for the sprints, how much progress you hope to make, whatever else you feel like talking about. And while you guys do that, I am going to go ahead and tell you what I have today that I may possibly read. So first of all, I have Little Rot by Akwaeke Emezi. This was recently released, like I want to say 2 weeks ago. And it is a horror novel, and that is really all I know about it. I have read almost all of Emezi's books and really enjoyed them. So I picked this up without hesitation. Emezi is a auto-buy author for me. They write some really interesting books, always have very strong messaging and things. So this may be something that I pick up during the sprints. I have Floating in a Most Peculiar Way by Louis Chude-Soke. This is Louis's memoir. His family is originally from Biafra, a former African nation, and then they moved to Jamaica and then eventually to Inglewood, California. Growing up in the 80s, this is kind of about Louis and cultural assimilation, coming of age, all that kind of stuff. I have Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. This is the same author as Chain Gang All-Stars, which is my favorite book last year. This was his debut short story collection, and I've heard nothing but good things. I'm thinking I might start with this one this morning. And just in case I need something a little bit lighter, I have Grown Ups by Marie Aubert. This is a translated novel. I believe it is from Norwegian. And this was recommended to me by a bookseller at one of my favorite bookstores in San Diego, La Playa Books. It's supposed to be a really fast, fun, enjoyable read. So those are my options. Lots of different things going on. We'll see what feels good. I'm going to start, I think, with Friday Black just because I've been enjoying the short story thing. And then I'm really sorry if there's a lot of air conditioning noise in the background. It is already 103 degrees here in Vegas at 9 in the morning. And yesterday we actually broke like our all-time heat record for forever. We hit 120 degrees in Las Vegas yesterday. We were only supposed to hit 117 and it went up to 120. So that means that the AC has to be constantly working here right now, or else it gets really hot really fast. Usually, like during less hot times, if it's tolerable, I'll turn off the AC while I'm recording so you don't hear that buzzing. But just right now, it gets too hot too fast, and then it makes the ACs have to work super hard to like recool the house. So it'll be popping off and on in the background. Sorry about that. So good morning, Nadeem. How are you doing today? What are you reading? Good morning. I'm reading This Ravishing World, a short story collection. Awesome. Exciting that you are joining in on the short story collection. All right. Let me find somewhere to set these down. Move some pillows around. All right. Everything is good. Hey, William. I'm reading The Thousand Autumns of Jacob Dizot by David Mitchell. I just finished a David Mitchell book a couple months back. Me and Jamie Kate, we buddy read The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell, and it was the first time that I had read a David Mitchell book, and she told me that was a terrible David Mitchell book to start with because she said that all his other books are really good, but that one was a little bit rough. How did you celebrate 4th of July? I didn't really do anything for 4th of July this year. We stopped briefly by like a friend's house that had a barbecue. We were there for maybe an hour, but that was really it. We didn't even go out and watch the fireworks. It's too hot in Vegas right now. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling that excited about 4th of July this year. So we just kind of been taking it easy all week. How about you? Did you do anything exciting? All right. Hey, good morning. How's it going? What are you reading this morning? Awesome. So many people popping in already. This is very exciting. I'm going to start setting up the alarm, and then, I got to set up a comment as well. Excuse me while you get a close-up of my face real quick. Good morning. We are currently sprinting. If you are just joining, hello. All right. Just adding in a little bit of a note so that way once we start sprinting, I can pop that up. There we go. I'm at work. I wish I was reading, but I might sneak in some of This World Does Not Belong to Us. Well, thank you for sneaking in to say hello from work. I appreciate that, but don't get yourself into trouble either. All right. So 15 minutes. Let's see. Alarm clock, 15 minutes. All right. So I have a 15-minute timer set. Hopefully everybody has their books, their caffeinated beverages if they need them. And we can get started. All right. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Right. So there is the end of our first reading sprint. Made it 11 pages into Friday Black. I'm partially through the first story. I think I'm like, actually, I guess about halfway through the first story. And what a story. This book is a collection of short stories that focuses on race in the United States. The first story in this book talks about police violence. So there is a group of 5 children that are killed. They are sitting outside of a library, minding their own business, and a gentleman feels nervous because they were black, and he gets a chainsaw out of his car and he kills the 5 children. And there is a trial about this, whether this man is guilty of murder or it was self-defense. And I won't say much more than that, but this really discusses the effects of this trial on the United States and the different groups of people watching the trial and what the response to it is. Pretty heartbreaking. Definitely a heavy story to start the morning with. I'm guessing that probably all of these stories are going to be really heavy because, again, I think they center racial justice, which in the United States is obviously a really difficult subject because it is not really existent. So definitely, I think, going to be a hard emotional story. Let's see. Neens, good morning. I'm reading Ashtray by Emma Donoghue. Awesome. I just picked up The Pull of Stars by Emma Donoghue from a bookstore recently. I think I've only read her one book, Learned by Heart. How are you liking it? Is it a book that you would recommend checking out? Because I did really like her writing style. Good morning, Melinda. I tried to get here right at 9, but again, too slow. Not reading anything yet as I have a few things to do first. Hey, no worries. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. I get it. Like, depending on your time zone, for some of us, this is just starting the morning out. So typically for me, like at this time of the morning, I wouldn't be reading either. Usually on my days off, I'd be getting up and doing stuff around the house. It just, it works well for these reading sprints. So I get it. Like when people on our time zone are popping in and they're like, hey, I'm just making my coffee and doing stuff. Totally get it. That would be me normally. Hey, Caitlin, reading Gods of Jade and Thunder. Is it supposed to be hard to get into, or is it me? Oh, are you talking about Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia? I didn't particularly find it hard to get into. I think maybe it started a little bit slow, but I feel like after maybe the first 50 pages or so, I thought it was pretty engaging. But, everybody has different tastes, so if you're not enjoying it, that's okay. Nadim said, finished a cup of coffee and started reading One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Nice. How do you like it? I have read 2 books by her so far. Excuse me, Luna. Thank you. I have read The Many Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I have read, what's the name of the other one? It's the one about like the 1970s rock band, and I can't think of the name of it right now. But I enjoyed the one about the rock band. I didn't love Evelyn Hugo so much, but I haven't really tried anything else by Jenkins Reid. So let me know if I should check that one out. Yes. Okay, Gods of Jade and Shadow. It's been a couple of years since I read it, but I don't remember it being super slow. I know there was like a good amount of setup initially because they had to go to a couple different locations. Hello, I'm reading A Secret Book and Scone Society. Nice. Enjoy. Anything with food in it, I'm happy about. Nadim, Daisy Jones and the Six. Yes, that's the one. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name for some reason. I enjoyed Daisy Jones and the Six. I think of the 2 books that I've read of hers so far, that was the one that I thought was better. I liked that was like kind of an ensemble setup. Oh, hello, Miss Luna. I think Luna would like to say hello this morning. How are we doing today? You out barking at the Amazon delivery guys? Is that what's up? I'm on a live stream here. Huh? Excuse me. Sorry. Let's see. One True Loves is interesting because it's TJR 1.0. TJR 2.0 starts with Evelyn Hugo. Oh, okay. So it's probably one of her older books then. I'm not super well versed in her writing. She's an author, like I said, where it's kind of hit and miss. And so I I don't know, not that I'm opposed to reading more of her stuff. I just was kind of like, this goes on later in my list. The Great Alone is good. Forgot Hurricane Passing Through. Oh, The Great Alone, Kristen Hanna. That one was a tough one for me. I appreciated what she tried to do with it. And I appreciate when authors try to read post-traumatic stress or write post-traumatic stress, but I had a bit of a struggle with how she portrayed post-traumatic stress in that particular story. I felt like that book got a little bit like trauma porn for me, personally. I know a lot of people really love it, so I'm on the lesser of the opinions here. Hurricane Passing Through. I haven't read that one at all. Hello, Luna. Luna, they're saying hi. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Look, over there. She's like, what am I supposed to be looking at? All right. Yeah, TJR used to write more along the lines of romance in her early career. Lisa Jewell is another one who made a career pivot. Yeah, I guess the thing is that I just don't really read that much of like really popular authors. Like I might pick up a book occasionally by a really well-known author, but it's not necessarily my focus. So yeah, I mean, like Lisa Jewell, I've read 2 of her books, I think. I enjoyed one. I didn't love the other one. So it's kind of the same thing where if there's like a book by any of those particular authors that really, really interests me, I'll jump into it. But otherwise, like I'm kind of focusing more on newer authors, authors of diverse backgrounds, things like that. It can go so many ways. Yeah, definitely. And that's the joy of reading is that like one person takes something out of a book that another person might not get. Everybody has different experiences, and so those books trigger different responses. For me, The Great Alone has a lot to do with my own personal experiences, being around soldiers with post-traumatic stress. My ex-husband had really severe PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and so it's not like an easy subject for me to read about, and it is one that I guess I'm probably overly critical of just because of my personal experiences. Such a cutie. Yes, she is. She's excited because she's now officially back to being the only dog. We dropped off our foster kitten yesterday to her forever home. And so Luna is enjoying, I think, the peace and quiet solo dog time this morning. I think she really liked the kitten too, but the kitty was getting very playful and the kitty was like attacking her paws and her tail and stuff like that. And Luna would play with her very gently, but I think she was like kind of exhausted. So I think this morning she's just like, I can lay here and nothing's jumping on me. Sheila, are you in Texas? Stay safe. I'm guessing that's for the hurricane. Yeah, if you are in Texas or anywhere that's about to be affected by the hurricane or was recently affected by the hurricane, I hope you're all doing well. I'm the same way. I don't read many of the chart topper authors. Yeah, that's my main thing is like Lisa Jewell is not gonna like not get published if I don't read her book. You know, there's enough Lisa Jewell fans and TJR fans that they're going to continue to do well. And I mean, I wish them well. It's not like I hate this author or their books, nothing like that. It's just like they already have established, like they have an established following. And so for me, I try to tend to pick up more books by authors that I think are a little bit lesser known or like debut authors, new releases, things like that. And then again, my focus as well is like really focused on diverse reading. So, you know, occasionally do I slip in, you know, a Kristen Hanna book or a TJR book? Yeah, sure. If there's one that's really interesting to me, but I definitely have not read like all of their collections or anything like that. I am in Texas, usual time of year. Thanks. No power. Oh no. Are you guys getting hit with like the main part of the storm or are you just getting like the kind of the, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you know how you can get hit with the exterior like storm part, but you're not in the central like really bad area. Are you guys doing okay aside from the no power? Do you know of Shale House, also by David Mitchell? Wikipedia says it's a companion book to the Bone Clocks. I do not. So that is the one and only David Mitchell book that I have tried to read, and it was a tough one. So while Jamie assured me that I would probably like other David Mitchell books better, it's not like the top of my list. probably going to give him another try at some point. But yeah, after reading The Bone Clocks, I don't know if I want to read the companion to The Bone Clocks just because it was a struggle. Have not read any TJR, I think. I mean, I think her writing is good. Daisy Jones and the Six in particular, I think was really well done. I know a lot of people like the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think for me, the reason that I didn't love it was the way that the story ties together at the end. I felt like there were some problematic things that happened towards the end that don't really get acknowledged very often. And so for me, while I thought the writing was decent overall, like the story was pretty interesting, I just didn't love the way that one specific character was handled and the way that the story concluded. Actually, I guess it's two specific characters were handled. So for me, that was a little bit of a problem. But I mean, a lot of people really, really love her books. And that one's, I think, her most popular one. So I think Jessie on YouTube, if I remember correctly, has a really, really good review of Evelyn Hugo and why that ending doesn't hit right for certain people. And I think she explains the issues around it like way more articulately than I could. It's winds and not really rain. My parents have a generator, so my dog and I are over here. Hurricanes are their own ways. Grew up South Texas, so you get used to it. Hopefully power won't be out for too long. Okay, well, fingers crossed for you. A, that it stays safe, and then B, that the power resumes quickly. I don't know. As somebody that grew up with earthquakes and wildfires, hurricanes sound terrifying to me. It's funny because I guess it's, where you grow up and what you're used to. I lived in Kansas for 1 year when I was younger, and there was a tiny little tornado that hit the town that I was living in. And like for the locals, it barely even registered. It was like the kind that knocks over a few trees, causes some heavy winds and a little bit of hail, and then goes on its way. For me, growing up in California where there's no hurricanes, I was absolutely terrified. I was like, I think we're supposed to get in the bathtub and throw a mattress over us or like get in the door frame. I had no idea what to do. I was so scared. And then, I was telling my local friends about that there and they're just laughing. They're like, this wasn't even that bad. Like you didn't need to do anything. You just stay inside. So, I think the hurricane sounds terrifying, but I'm glad that on Texas radar, it's not that big a deal. Okay. I didn't like the Bone Clocks too, but loved Cloud Atlas and Black Swan Green. That's what I hear. So, I mean, I think that I just started with the wrong book for David Mitchell. So like I said, I buddy read that with Jamie Kate, and she mentioned that she really likes David Mitchell and that particular book that we ended up buddy reading was just not a good book. She was like, this is probably the one that she cared for the least. And she recommended Cloud Atlas and some of his other books. So I will probably try that at some point. I would take hurricanes. Everybody says that. Like, I would take whatever is in my region. Honestly, like earthquakes. So, I mean, I've been through quite a few earthquakes in my life, both in California and Nevada now. And most of the time I sleep through them at this point. Unless it's like shaking hard enough to knock stuff off the walls, like you mostly don't notice them. Forest fires, I think, are pretty scary. I would not wish forest fires on anyone because I think that's terrifying no matter what. And I've lived through some couple really scary ones in California, but I would say like earthquakes for me are like not that big a deal, because you can have like a minor earthquake that really doesn't do any damage. In fact, you can have even a pretty strong earthquake that really doesn't do any damage. And most of the areas that have earthquakes, the buildings are built to resist the earthquakes. They have these like rockers underneath the buildings that kind of help the building flex with the shaking of the ground. So I just don't find them that scary. Whereas like, I feel like even a minor hurricane can cause flooding and damage and stuff. But I suppose, again, it's what you grow up and what you're used to. I'm scared of all inclement weather. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, home of the weather wimps. I don't know if you guys are wimpy there. I think you guys are just used to rain all the time. So maybe a hurricane's not that different. I think every time that I've been to the Pacific Northwest, except for one time, it's been raining. There was one time that I went in the middle of the summer and I got like 3 really sunny days, but the rest of the time it's always been really rainy and wet. Just be alert, prepared, and sweating is common. Oh, okay, because of humidity, I would guess. Well, I'm glad that you guys are prepared. I'm glad that you are somewhere safe and that your family has a generator to keep you in power as long as the power is out. And hopefully, it won't get much worse than that. So, that being said, where did I put my phone so I can set my next alarm? All right, so we'll set another 15 minutes and we can go from there. All right, see you guys in 15 minutes. Okay. That's the end of our second 15-minute reading sprint. I'll just mark my page here. Whew, this book is rough. I mean, it's really, really well written, but it's tough subject matter. Let's see. It doesn't rain as much as it used to, but we even complain about the rain. Then we complain about droughts. Basically, if it's not 72 degrees and partly cloudy, we're dissatisfied. Hey, that sounds like San Diego minus the rain. Yeah, like in San Diego, usually everyone wants it around mid-70s. Perfect beach weather, basically. And if it's not perfect beach weather, it's either freezing cold or way too hot. Let's see. Have you ever had to deal with volcanic ash? I have. I have actually. Not in a really super severe way, but I lived in the Galapagos Islands for a couple months when I was younger. And while I was there, the volcano on the island of Isabella exploded. And so there was some volcanic ash and things. It wasn't like horrific, but there was a bit of fallout from it. Thumbs up. Oh, sorry, this time. Let's see. Read a couple of chapters in Les Mis and then switched to Night of the Living Res. How are you liking Night of the Living Res? That is on my TBR. It is a book I have been meaning to get to, but I hear kind of mixed reviews. I'm trying to think what the author is who the author is off the top of my head. Is that Morgan Telty? No. I gotta look it up now. Page 38 of 308 pages. Nice. 72, that would be great for a high. Let's see. Night of the Living Res. Living Res. I can envision the cover in my head. I just can't remember who the author was. Yeah, Morgan Telty. Okay, I was right. I have Morgan Telty's newest book. I think it's Fire Exit. I got the audio ARC of that. So I'm hoping to listen to it very soon. Alrighty. Well, I made it about another 11 pages. I think I'm taking a little bit longer on this because this is some difficult subject matter. It's not the kind of book that I really want to rush through. Let's see. I'm mixed on Nights of the Living Res. I like the author, but I wish it was a novel and not interconnected short stories. Normally, I like that format, but it isn't really working for me here. Yeah, so I had heard kind of mixed reviews on that one. I think that was maybe their debut, if I remember correctly. And I kind of remember hearing that there was some kinks that needed to be worked out. But maybe I am misremembering. Now I want to pull up Morgan Telty's whole Goodreads to see if they have other books listed. I have Fire Exit 2, but I wanted to make sure I read this book first. Otherwise, I might not get to it. Makes sense. Morgan Telty. Yeah, so I think Night of the Living Res was a debut. So, that happens with debuts sometimes. You get really cool ideas, but maybe not as polished as they could be. So I'm hoping that Fire Exit's going to be really good. Yeah, it is his debut. Yep, there you go. So, you know how that goes. Sometimes, you see really cool concepts and ideas and interesting writing style, but it's just not all the way polished up. So maybe that's kind of how this is. Maybe my Night of the Living Res was, like you said, it's good, but there's some issues with the interconnection of the short stories. So maybe Fire Exit's going to be a little smoother. I'm really looking forward to reading Fire Exit. Or listening to it rather. That's one that has been on my radar for quite a while. So hopefully it'll be really good. All right. I'm thinking I'm going to try and finish. I think I'm close to finishing. Yeah. 4 pages from finishing this last little bit of this short story. And then the next short story is only another 10 pages or so. So I'll probably try to finish the short story that I'm reading and then the second short story. And then I think I'm going to switch to my letter book for a little bit. I feel like I could use something a little bit funny this morning. So, all right, let me set up the next 15-minute timer. And then let me put comment back up. William, where do you live that you experienced a volcano? Just out of curiosity, or did you experience it on vacation? That's one that I feel like is so uncommon to have experienced. So I'm just curious where that happened. Okay. All right, 15 minutes on the clock. I will see you guys in a little bit. Right. That is the end of our third sprint here. All right, so I finished my first story. There was a second story which I missed that was like 2 pages long, which I finished. And then I'm about halfway through the third story in this book. And the third story is like a dystopian fiction where the US has been through a couple wars and it has caused like a massive restructuring of the country and like a change to how people approach society and everything. It's kind of interesting. All right. Hopefully you are continuing to make progress. Please feel free to let me know in the comments where you made it to, how you're doing with your book, if you're liking your book. All right. Let's see. I live in Indonesia. There was an eruption last month on a neighboring island. The nearest airport closed and my daughter left school early. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so the one little volcano that I experienced was definitely not that severe. I do think that it closed the main airport to the Galapagos Islands for like maybe a day or two, but it wasn't anything really serious. Maybe if I had been on the actual island where the volcano was erupting, would have been more serious, but I was a few islands away. But is like everything back to normal now? Are you guys still having fallout? Did they have to evacuate like nearby areas to the volcano, or was the volcano far enough away from where everyone was living that people were safe? Finished the story I was reading in the Night of Living Res, switching to something else for the next sprint. I think I'm going to be doing the same thing actually. I'm going to probably switch over to Grown Ups by Marie Albert. So this was a book that I was recommended at a bookstore in San Diego, and the lady that recommended it said it was just a really fun, light read. So I think that this is probably good. Had kind of an emotional day yesterday, getting rid of little kitty Domino, going to her forever home, and just getting things ready to go back to work this week and stuff. So I think I could use a little bit of something light. I'm liking my book, but I spent the sprint emailing a friend. That's okay. Emailing a friend is important too. I always like to say like these sprints are for whatever you need them for. It doesn't have to be just strictly reading. A lot of people pop in and do video editing or like grocery lists or whatever task that needs to get done. And so perfectly fine to take those 15-minute sprints to challenge yourself to do something that, something else that needs to be done as well. I'm on chapter 20 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince on page 430. Good morning, Bernadette. Awesome. You are making good progress. All right. I need to get another bookmark because I used my other bookmark for Friday Black. And, right. Cleaned my room and read 12 pages. That sounds very productive. I've read 30 pages. It's short stories, but they're all interconnected, revolving around nature and environmental issues. Awesome. Sounds like everybody is making pretty good progress this morning. I like to hear that. Let me just put my bookmark in here. I think, let's see, what time is it? 10:15. So I think I'll probably run 2 more sprints. And then from there, I will probably end just because by then it'll be almost 2 hours. Good afternoon, Caitlin. How are you coming with your book? So it's morning here for me. I think you're in New York, if I remember correctly. So you're 3 hours ahead of us. So for me, it's 10 still. So still early morning, or not early morning, but still mid-morning. I am doing good with my book. So I'm reading Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, and I made it through the first 33 pages. And now I'm going to switch over to Grown Ups by Marie Albert. Read something a little bit lighter, just give myself a little bit of a break. All is normal now. The ash made the sky overcast for several hours. Cars were wiping ash off windshields. The island where the eruption happened was evacuated. Oh, good to know. Okay, well, I'm glad that everything is back to normal. The little volcano that I experienced, like there was some ash, but it wasn't super severe, at least where I was at. But I did experience something similar when I was in high school. We had a really, really bad forest fire that burned around San Diego. It was one of the first like really, really severe forest fires that I could remember. and it completely blacked out the sky. It honestly looked like a hellscape. It looked like the sky was on fire. Everything was brown, and we were like it was raining ash. I mean, you could not go outside without a face mask on because there was so much ash, and it like at points it looked like it was almost snowing just because there was so much ash falling down. Yeah, we are ahead of you. Yep, 3 hours. I'm going to switch to Deacon King Kong by James McBride. Awesome. Hoping that you are enjoying that book so far. The tsunami. I'm not sure what the tsunami is. All right, so I'm going to set up that next 15-minute sprint. Just get that comment back up. Okay. Comment is up. Oh, sorry. I'm just asking, do you usually count the number of books you read every month? I do. I usually average between 20 to 25 books a month. It just depends. It depends on, like, if a lot of the books are short like this, then I could easily read like around 30. But some months where I'm reading thicker books, I might only read like 18. But I do like to keep count of them. Not necessarily because I feel like I have to read a certain amount or anything, but just because I like to know at the end of the year how many books that I've read. So I just keep like a list. I have a file in my Google Docs, and I just I have it like auto numbered. And so every time I finish a book, I just type it into there. And so at the end of the year, I have an idea of how much I read. Oh, I'm sorry. You meant the tsunami in Indonesia. Okay. Let's see. All right. 15 minutes on the clock. I will see you guys soon. Right. There is the end of our next reading sprint. So I made it 24 pages into Grown Ups by Marie Albert. This is a little different than I was expecting. So the way that it was pitched to me is like that it was kind of a humorous book about this woman and kind of a midlife crisis. And maybe we're getting to the midlife crisis point, but definitely the beginning of the book wasn't that lighthearted. She's kind of reflecting on, I mean, there's moments where she's kind of like bitchy and funny, but for the most part, she's reflecting on her life and the fact that she isn't where she wants to be. So I'm assuming that some of the humor is going to probably come in as she is trying to like get her life on track. Maybe she's going to start dating, etc. But yeah, I mean, I like the voice of the character so far. This is translated fiction, so I'll be curious to see how well it flows. I think it's translated from Norwegian. Yeah, from Norwegian. So I've been making an effort this year to read more translated fiction. That was one of my goals. I realized like in years past that I only read a couple translated books throughout the year. And honestly, I've been feeling like there's this huge surge of really, really good translated fiction lately. So I'm trying to incorporate more and more of it. Started Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books. I think it will be a fun light read. My mom just finished that one. Mom, if you're still in here, let Melinda know what you think of it. I think she won it, or not won it, but there was like a giveaway for little free libraries for that book. And so my mom received a copy of it from this giveaway. And then I think she read it and popped it into the little free library already. But I feel like I remember that she enjoyed it. I know that she liked Miller's other book, The Change, quite a bit. And I think I remember her saying that this one was pretty good. And I do think it's like a fun, lighter read. It's one that's definitely on my radar as well, because I would like to read it. I really loved in her first book, The Change, that she centered women that were like in the middle age area, because I feel like often, books focus on much younger characters. On page 52, awesome. That is good progress. I think you were in the 30s in the last update. Let me see. 38. Yeah, making steady progress. Nice. Read another 9 pages. How many sprints are left? I'm going to do one more sprint. It is 10:40 my time. So I think after I finish one more sprint, it will be almost 11 o'clock, which means 2 hours of sprinting. That seems like a reasonable point to leave it off. And I have some stuff to get done around the house and some videos to hopefully edit today. Which chapter, Bernadette? Didn't realize it was by the same author who wrote The Change. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. Maybe I'm really tired this morning, so like I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure it's Kristen Miller that wrote both The Change and Lula Dean's. Let's see, Lula Dean's. Yeah, Kirsten Miller. So yeah, that's the same author as the person who wrote The Change. Yep. So high hopes for that one. I think maybe my mom has stepped out of the chat, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember her enjoying it and saying it was a fun read. Chapter 16, page 226 of Deacon King Kong. Awesome. So if you end up really liking Deacon King Kong, I would really recommend the Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, which is his newest book. I really, really enjoyed that one. Oh, there you are. Loved both. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you already passed that one on in your little free library, right? I think I remember a post about that on Instagram a little while back. Cool deal. So yeah, I think I will run one more 15-minute sprint, and then I think that's a good place to call it. From there, like I said, 2 hours. Thanks, Rochelle Bandy. Stay hydrated, everyone, please, for me. Yes, definitely. Got tea and water over there. I know a lot of places here in the US are having extreme heat right now. I don't think it's just the US. I mean, all over the world. But I know particularly like right here, we're under a heat bubble at the moment. So yesterday, I think, Bernadette, I don't know if you were here for this part of the conversation, but we hit 120 degrees here in Las Vegas yesterday, which broke our all-time heat record by 3 degrees. So prior to yesterday, the all-time heat record for Las Vegas was 117 degrees. So it's already hit 120 degrees yesterday. And it's a little concerning for us because usually it doesn't get this hot in Vegas until further into the summer. We're still pretty early to be hitting days that are, 115, 117. And it's supposed to be like that all week. So we're like 117, 117, 118. So I expect that we may shatter that 120 degree mark before the end of the summer is over. So yes, wherever you are, drink lots of water, stay hydrated, stay cool. All right, let's set up that last 15-minute sprint. And then hopefully everybody will make really good progress on this sprint. We can all leave at a good place and go about the rest of our days. See you guys in 15 minutes. All right, guys, that is the end of the reading sprint. Right on time. We're just about to hit 11 o'clock my time. So that was a solid 2 hours of reading sprints for me. Let's see. Catch up on some comments. Yes, I did. Miller offered to send some LFL stewards a copy of her book. I was one of the lucky winners. Oh, yeah, this is for Lula Dean's little free library of banned books, I think it is. Wow, Caitlin, in New York, we are like near 100 degrees. Yeah, I mean, I know everywhere in the U.S. is having really high heat. Well, not everywhere, but most of the U.S. and I think Canada as well is having some pretty high heat. This heat dome that's like trapped over the continent seems to really be pushing the temperatures up. But yeah, it's been wild here. Yesterday, the news was just like watching it all day. So like the news would report, we hit 118, we broke the record, 119, and then it hit 120, and everybody was like, what? It's so hot that honestly, like for me at least, after 110, I feel like you don't even want to go outside, and then 120, like you could die really fast if you're not careful. Hello. Just joining, reading Poppy War, hoping to get to chapter 20 for a read along. Currently chapter 7, started slow, but I'm getting more into it now. I loved the Poppy War trilogy. R.F. Kuang is a writer who I really enjoy, and I think it's so impressive how she switches genres in between her books. So we have the Poppy Wars, Babel, and Yellowface. I've read all three of them. And yeah, I'm constantly impressed by how she maintains quality while switching up genres so drastically. I hope that you enjoy the Poppy Wars. It did start a little bit slow because there's a lot of like world building and setup and stuff. But I think once you get into the action part of it, it kind of stays pretty fast from there. Let's see. Hi, hello, good morning. I'm in Washington State and it's supposed to be 109 today. That is insane. Yeah, I was seeing from other people too yesterday, like on my Facebook and stuff. I have some friends that are like up in Canada and up that way, and they're having record temperatures as well. It's just wild to think of somewhere like Washington hitting 109. I mean, Las Vegas is the desert, so for us to hit 115 in the summer, it's hot, but it's normal. We'll have a few days where it'll hit like 115. But yeah, I mean, even with us going over 115 is pretty extreme. Read another 10 pages. Thanks for the sprints. Thank you for dropping in, Nadim. I appreciate you. Katie said, thank you so much. Time to do laundry. I can remember when 90 degrees hit Cincinnati a couple days in August. We've been having several 90-degree days every week since the beginning of June. Thank you for dropping in, Katie. I really appreciate you joining the sprint. I hope that laundry and whatever else you have to do gets done quickly so you can have a nice productive day and, move on from there. And yes, I think everywhere is struggling with that. I think everywhere in the US that I can think of is pretty much above temperature. I'm on page 230 of Deacon King Kong. Right. I had a family reunion Saturday and I forgot to take sunscreen. My skin is so sensitive to the sun, 15 minutes and I'm burned. So 2 hours and I have several burns. I am so sorry to hear that. I hope that you have some aloe vera, either in the bottle or plants. When I was living in the Galapagos Islands, which is like right on the equator, I used to get really bad sunburns when I first lived there. And one of the things that was really helpful is if you have like bottled aloe vera, stick it in the freezer for 15 minutes. It'll really soothe the burning feeling. I mean, the aloe is great for the soothing the actual burns themselves, but the coolness will really help with that like sensitive feeling. We're expecting triple digits for the next few days. Might take the kids to movies this afternoon. We have air conditioning, but movie theater AC is just different. Yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday. We drove over to Baskin Robbins to get some ice cream and we passed the movie theaters. And I was like, maybe we should do an all movie day. Because you're right, the AC in the movie theaters is just different. New York is almost near 100 and we are staying cool. I can't do anything in this heat. Yeah, it's brutal across the country right now, I think. Yeah. I mean, all we can do, I think, is try to run the AC, stay hydrated, stay out of the sun in the hottest days. I know here in Vegas, like basically from say 10 a.m. until about 7 p.m., it's pretty much, you just don't even go outside because of it. So hopefully everyone stays safe. In terms of sprints today, I feel like I had a pretty productive day. I finished the first 33 pages in Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. I finished completely 2 stories, and I'm about halfway into the 3rd story. And then I finished 40 pages in Grown Ups by Marie Albert. This one is one of those books where the pages are like super short and it's a lot of dialogue, so it's reading really fast. So yeah, a nice balance. Pretty happy with that progress. A good 75 pages seems like a solid reading for the day. So thank you everybody who stopped in. I know some of you stopped in a little bit later, so I apologize that you're catching us as the sprints are ending. If you want to join in for future sprints, I start my sprints at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I will be here next week at the same time, 9 a.m. Feel free to jump in. And then in August, we'll see how things are going, but I'm hoping to add a second sprint to the docket. I was going to do that in July, but I feel like I'm just kind of pushing myself a little too much. I'm supposed to start back to work this week. And so I want to give myself time to get back into work and a regular routine without trying to like overload myself. I'm not the best at setting healthy boundaries in terms of like hobbies and things. So I'm trying to just like take a step back and go, I don't have to do everything at once. But for sure through July, I will be running these Monday morning sprints. Well, not just through July, continuously Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going out later this afternoon and later to exercise. How about you, Caitlin? How are you dealing with the heat? Like I mentioned, just, trying to stay cool. We keep the AC running here. You can't really go out in 120-degree heat. It's just not safe no matter how you try to do it. So most people just stay indoors during the hottest part of the day. Thanks for the sprints. Stay cool. Yep. Thank you everybody for dropping by. I will see you hopefully next week. I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope everybody continues to make really good progress on their reads. Talk to you all soon. Bye.